Welcome back at 12:23. It is that time of year that lots of people are suffering from spring allergies. And if you're one of those people, just know you are not alone. Today, a local doctor is explaining why allergies feel worse. They feel like they're the worst now in the spring season than they ever are in the year, and how best to deal with them. Dr. Kenneth Paris with LSU Health, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So you and I were talking about how it seems like the allergy season started earlier and it seems to last longer, and it seems to be more intense, or maybe that's just some of us feeling those feelings.
No, I think you're right. It's definitely a little more intense in the last few years.
And what is the culprit of that intensity?
So, we always talk about global warming. It seems that the allergy season starts earlier nowadays. We have warmer weather. The trees that are, the big allergy trigger in Louisiana in the springtime seem to be pollinating earlier. And so, of course, we're getting those symptoms of allergies a little bit earlier in the year.
So let's talk the best way to deal with them. First, before we talk about medication, I know sometimes you have to be outside. You can't really avoid it. If you have to be outdoors, what is the best way to handle those allergens? I know one day a couple weeks ago I was like, I need to go out for a run preparing for Crescent City Classic. And 3 people on my block are cutting grass. You can't get around it. So what's the best way to handle outdoors?
If you know that the spring allergy season is your trigger for allergy symptoms, if you can start using some of those medicated nasal sprays in the weeks or months before the allergy season starts, you might be able to reduce your allergy symptoms once you do start going outside to do exercise.
And so that's probably the best way, if you can. I know it's kind of hard if you're running or what have you, but wearing a mask, is that helpful somewhat?
Masking can be really helpful for allergy symptoms, especially if you have asthma. But that's also, if you're exercising, it's hard to do. And of course, you can use medications on the day of, your exercise or your outdoor activities to try to prevent those symptoms.
And let's talk medication. Obviously, you go in the drugstore and tend to be overwhelmed. There's so many options. And a friend recently suggested to me, if you do buy one, maybe next time purchase a second and alternate. Is that something that you're familiar with, alternating, and why would that be something you consider?
Sure, especially with the antihistamine medications, something like Claritin or Zyrtec. There may be a benefit to using one for a period of time and then switching to one of the others. Your body does seem to become a little bit used to one of those medications, and changing it every once in a while might have some benefit and improve your response to those medications.
You mentioned nasal sprays. What are we talking? I also know that there's now on the market those nasal saline kind of misters, if you will. Can you use both together?
Sure,
and what are your suggestions on that front?
So there's different types of nasal sprays to treat allergy symptoms. The first one is a nasal steroid spray, something like fluticasone. That prevents symptoms by reducing inflammation. There are other sprays which might help in the immediate period where you're having symptoms. Those are like antihistamine nasal sprays. And of course, then there's nasal saline sprays, and that can help to rinse out any of the pollen from your nasal passages, and also helps those other medications be a little more effective so they can reach the tissues where they need to be.
So let's say you have been outside and you know that pollen's going to impact you. Maybe right when you come in, of course, take those clothes off, shower, and the saline rinses, are those good for that?
Absolutely. Do those saline rinses, and of course, eye drops too. So eye symptoms are really a big problem in Louisiana from that tree pollen, and there are a few different eye drops on the market available over the counter that can really help those itchy, watery eyes that occur after you've been outside.
Well, Doctor, we appreciate your time this afternoon. I know lots of people are out this weekend at all the festivals, but don't forget your allergies and
that's right.
Use some of these remedies so you don't feel terrible when you have to go back to work.
Use it before you go.
Yes, and then afterwards so you don't feel terrible when you have to go back to work on Monday, because a lot of people played hooky. We appreciate you so much, Doctor. All right,
absolutely.